Now, is this a signing I wanted? No. Is this a signing I understand? Yeah, I guess so. Listen, man, a lot of people, y'all, are very upset with the signing, and I understand that. But let's be clear here. If you are one of the people who wanted Kelsey Mitchell back, you want Lexi Hall back, you want Sophie Cunningham back, you want all of them back, signings like this is all the Indiana Fever.
Look at that reaction. That's not excitement about a roster move. That's resignation mixed with frustration. And honestly, after watching the Indiana Fever's offseason strategy unfold, you can understand why fans are feeling this way. Because on February 15, 2025, the Fever announced they're bringing back Dantas on what's expected to be a veteran minimum contract, and the response from the fan base has been anything but enthusiastic. Here's the situation the Fever are dealing with. They've got Caitlin Clark locked in as their franchise cornerstone. Aaliyah Boston is entering year 3. If they bring back Kelsey Mitchell, which most expect them to do, that's 3 significant contracts eating up cap space. Add in the reported interest in re-signing Lexi Hull and potentially Sophie Cunningham, and suddenly you're looking at a roster with very little financial flexibility, which means moves like the Dantas signing aren't just likely, they're inevitable.
She has familiarity, and Dantas can stretch the floor. Now, you know, I like Dantas because she can shoot the 3, but I didn't want to re-sign Dantas because I don't believe she can move. She can't move, in my opinion. I thought there were better young options that you could get on a minimum, like potentially a Amenwede from the Golden State Valkyries, Ticia Amenwede. I love her game, her energy as a young big coming off the bench, but maybe the Indiana Fever feel like they have a player like that already in Michaela Timpson.
And there's the core tension right there. Fans want championship caliber talent at every position. They want the Fever to upgrade from last season's roster that struggled with defensive mobility and rim protection, but the salary cap doesn't care about what fans want. It's a hard ceiling, and every dollar spent on keeping last year's core together is a dollar that can't be used to bring in new talent. So let's talk about what Dantas actually brings to the table. She's a stretch 5 who shot 37.5% from three-point range last season on limited attempts. She provides floor spacing, which is valuable when you're trying to create driving lanes for Caitlin Clark. She has familiarity with the system after playing in Indiana during the 2024 season. And most importantly for the Fever's cap situation, she'll come cheap, likely around $64,000 on a veteran minimum deal. But here's what she doesn't bring: defensive versatility, lateral quickness, rim protection against the league's elite post players. When you're facing Brittany Griner, Aja Wilson, or Angel Reese in the paint, Dantas isn't going to be your answer. She's a situational player who works in specific matchups but becomes a liability against athletic bigs who can exploit her lack of mobility.
Damiris Dantas does have experience at the backup 5. She knows how to play with Caitlin Clark. She can shoot that 3 and stretch the floor. I'm not super stoked with the signing, but I get it. And these are the type of signings you are going to have. The Indiana Fever are going to be signing a bunch of minimum deals. They got to fill out a roster. They like between Caitlin, Kelsey, Aaliyah, and y'all want them to bring Lexi and Sophie back too. There ain't no money for nobody else except for one more player that needs to be a starting power forward. So everything else is going to be these low budget minimum deals like a Damiris.
That comparison to Michaela Timpson is interesting because it highlights the real question here: why re-sign a veteran backup center when you already have a young athletic big on the roster who could potentially develop into that role? Timpson is 24 years old, brings energy and athleticism off the bench, and is still on a rookie-scale contract. The argument for Dantas over Timpson comes down to experience and shooting ability. But the argument against it is that you're blocking minutes for a younger player who might have a higher ceiling. And notice what he mentioned there about other options. Easy Magbagor from the Golden State Valkyries was available in the dispersal draft. She's 25 years old, brings defensive intensity, can protect the rim, and has shown she can contribute on both ends. That's the type of young, athletic big who could actually move the needle for Indiana's defense. But the Fever passed, and now she's headed elsewhere while they're running it back with a 31-year-old backup center who was part of a team that went 20-20 last season. The phrase familiarity keeps coming up in these discussions, and that should concern Fever fans. Because familiarity is what you prioritize when you're a playoff team trying to make incremental improvements. The 2024 Fever weren't that. They were a team that got exposed in the first round, that struggled defensively all season, that needed significant upgrades to compete with the league's elite. Familiarity doesn't fix those problems.
Dantas, okay, she has experience with the team, familiarity. So I mean, I get it. You know, it's not the greatest news. I do feel like there may have been some other options at the same cheap price point, so to speak, but this is the direction they chose to go. They chose to go run it back with familiarity, somebody that had been there before. I hope they don't just run it back with everyone. I hope they don't try to run it back with Natasha Howard. I hope they don't try to run it back with Ari McDonald and Odyssey Sims and just everybody. Like, there needs to be some fresh energy, some younger players, okay? So I'm hoping they get it right, man.
And there it is, the reality check that every Fever fan needs to hear. This is what the offseason is going to look like. Minimum contracts, budget signings, role players who provide specific skills but don't move the needle as overall talents. Because once you commit max money to your stars, everything else becomes a financial puzzle where you're trying to fill roster spots without going over the cap. The math is straightforward. Caitlin Clark is on her rookie contract at approximately $76,000 for 2025. But everyone knows that when she becomes extension eligible, she's getting supermax money. Aaliyah Boston is in year 3 of her rookie deal at around $74,000. Kelsey Mitchell, if she re-signs, is looking at a deal in the $175,000 to $200,000 range based on her production and market value. That's already over $325,000 committed to 3 players in a league where the salary cap for 2025 is $1.46 million for a 12-player roster. Now add in Lexi Hull, who's coming off a breakout season where she shot 46.9% from 3 and became a crucial floor spacer. She's not taking a minimum deal, she's earned a raise. Same with Sophie Cunningham if they pursue her in free agency. She's a proven veteran three-point specialist who shot 38.5% from deep last season. That's another $150,000 to $200,000 combined if you want to keep both.
And so I don't know what other moves the Indiana Fever have up their sleeve, but I hope it's something. I absolutely hope it's something. We need a backup point guard as well. This here is courtesy of Alexa Philippou. Diamond Miller has been sent from the Dallas Wings to the Connecticut Sun in exchange for Rhea Marshall, a move that could open up some cap room for Dallas. And you know what? Another thing, pardon, on this Damiris Dantas thing, that it looks like, I don't know.
That's the critical need, and it's where the Fever's entire offseason should be focused. Everything else, the backup center position, the third string guard, the end of bench depth, that's all secondary. The Fever need a starting power forward who can do 3 things: shoot the 3 consistently, defend multiple positions, and not clog the paint when Caitlin and Aaliyah are running pick and roll. Last season, they tried to fill that spot with Nalissa Smith early on, then shuffled through various combinations when that didn't work. Smith shot just 29.6% from 3 and struggled defensively. The position became a revolving door of players who couldn't provide what the offense needed: spacing and ball movement. Every time the Fever ran their core action, Clark and Boston in the pick and roll, the defense could load up because they didn't respect the power forward's shooting. That's why you see names like Satu Sabali, Alyssa Thomas, or even Brianna Stewart mentioned in Fever fan discussions. Not because any of those players are realistic acquisitions, but because they represent the archetype Indiana desperately needs. A forward who makes defenses pay for helping off, who can switch defensively, who doesn't need the ball in her hands to impact winning. The problem is that player costs real money, not minimum contract money, not mid-level exception money. Real salary cap dollars that the Fever might not have if they're committing to bringing back the entire core from last season.
It looks like Azurá Stevens is going to end up going to the Dallas Wings or the Chicago Sky, man. Something like that. Like, I don't think Indiana's in the run for Azurá Stevens anymore. I mean, I don't know what's going on, man. But Diamond Miller has been sent from the Dallas Wings to the Connecticut Sun in exchange for Rhea Marshall, a move that could open up some cap room for Dallas. So it looks like Dallas trying to free up money, and they probably trying to free up money to bring in Azurá Stevens. Okay, and then Kirsten Bell has signed back with the Aces. She was with them. So I mean, that's what it is right now. This is crazy, man. I don't know what.
Those transactions tell you everything about how the league's competitive landscape is shifting. Diamond Miller to Connecticut in exchange for Rhea Marshall isn't just a simple swap. It's Dallas clearing $87,000 in cap space. That's not an accident. That's a team making room for a significant signing, and all the reporting points to them pursuing Ari McDonald as a backup point guard, or potentially making a run at a bigger name. Meanwhile, Connecticut gets younger and more athletic by adding Miller, who's 23 years old, and showed flashes of being a versatile wing defender during her time in Minnesota and Dallas. The Sun are clearly building for another championship window, adding pieces that fit their defensive identity. And then you've got the Las Vegas Aces bringing back Kirsten Bell, who played 17 games for them last season. That's a team that went to back-to-back championships in 2022 and 2023, missed the finals in 2024, and is now running back the same core with minor adjustments. They're betting that continuity and championship experience matter more than making big splashes in free agency. Compare that to what Indiana is doing. They're in this weird middle ground where they're not fully committing to running it back with the 2024 roster, but they're also not making the aggressive moves you'd expect from a team trying to maximize Caitlin Clark's rookie contract window. They're signing Dantas to minimum deals while other teams are clearing cap space and positioning themselves for impact additions.
The Fever, man. I hope this front office is not just staying packed with the same team from last year, man. I really hope that's not what's going on. I hope that's not what's going on, man, because it's just not. It's not good enough. It's not good enough, you know. But we are 1 month out, guys. We are almost there. Almost there to the first regular season game. All right. I can't wait. I can't wait for the season to start. I cannot wait for the season to start, man. Indiana Fever gonna be looking, hopefully, if the front office get this off season right.
That fear is real, and it's based on what we've seen from Indiana's front office over the past few years. This is an organization that has historically prioritized stability over calculated risk-taking. They kept Marianne Stanley as head coach for 2 full seasons despite clear evidence the team wasn't developing properly. They brought in Christy Sides for 2024, and while the team improved, there were still significant questions about rotations, defensive schemes, and player development. Now they've got Stephanie White, who's a Fever legend as a player but is walking into a situation where expectations are sky high and the margin for error is razor thin. If the front office's response to those expectations is to just bring back the same roster that went 2020 and got swept in the first round, that's not good enough. Natasha Howard is 32 years old and coming off a season where she averaged 7.6 points and 5.8 rebounds while shooting 31.6% from 3. She's not a starting caliber power forward on a championship contender anymore. Erica Wheeler is 33 and averaged 4.8 points on 35.6% shooting. She can't be your primary backup point guard if you're serious about competing. Odyssey Sims played 8 games last season. These are not the pieces you build around when you have a generational talent in Caitlin Clark on a rookie contract. The window is now, not 3 years from now when Caitlin is on her second contract and the salary cap is even tighter. Not 5 years from now when Aaliyah Boston is in her prime but surrounded by aging veterans. Right now, in 2025, when you have 2 all-star caliber players on rookie deals and the financial flexibility to add real talent around them.
The Indiana Fever should be one of the better teams in the league. Hopefully Caitlin Clark can stay healthy and we won't have to deal with what we dealt with last year, because that was treacherous. It was hard to finish watching some of these games with Caitlin Clark sitting out. The entertainment value, the excitement wasn't the same. But yeah, hopefully this season the team is much more healthy. Stephanie White just stays out of the way for a change, and we can just have a good season, man. That's all we want, is a good season, man. We just want to watch Caitlin Clark do her thing, Indiana Fever be a good team, And that's it, man. We just want a good, fun, exciting season. But this has been the move. Damiris Dantas expected to re-sign with the Indiana Fever. We'll keep our eyes peeled, ear to the streets for whatever else comes our way. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. This is Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Here's what makes the Damiris Dantas signing both understandable and frustrating at the same time. On one level, it makes complete financial sense. The Fever need to fill out a 12-player roster, and they can't pay everyone significant money. Minimum contracts for end-of-bench players is standard operating procedure across the WNBA. Every team does it. Every championship roster has players making veteran minimum deals who provide specific skills in limited minutes. But context matters. And the context here is that Indiana just had the biggest cultural moment in WNBA history with Caitlin Clark's rookie season. They drew 1.18 million viewers for their playoff game against Connecticut, the most watched first-round WNBA playoff game ever. They sold out arenas across the league. They generated more media coverage and revenue than any team in league history. And the front office's response is to bring back a backup center who was part of a team that went 500 and got swept in the playoffs. That's the disconnect. Fans aren't expecting the Fever to sign Aja Wilson or Brianna Stewart. They understand the salary cap. They understand financial constraints. What they're expecting is for the front office to match the ambition and energy that Caitlin Clark brought to the franchise. They're expecting the organization to recognize that this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to build something special, and that requires being aggressive in free agency, creative with trades, and willing to make tough decisions about roster construction. The Damiris Dantas signing isn't a disaster. It's not going to tank the season, but it's a symbol of a larger concern that the Fever are approaching this offseason with a maintenance mentality instead of a championship mentality. That they're thinking about filling roster spots instead of building a contender, that they're prioritizing familiarity and continuity over talent and upside. Look at what the other top teams are doing. New York has been aggressive in retaining their core while adding pieces. Las Vegas is running back a championship-tested roster with strategic additions. Connecticut just made a move to get younger and more athletic. Minnesota has been active in trying to upgrade their supporting cast around Nafisa Collier. These are teams that understand the urgency of competing in a league where championship windows are short and talent is concentrated. Indiana has the most valuable asset in the entire league in Caitlin Clark. They have a young, developing star in Aaliyah Boston. They have the financial flexibility right now, in this moment, to add impact talent before those rookie contracts expire and the cap situation gets tighter. The question is whether they're going to use that flexibility to make bold moves or whether they're going to play it safe with signings like Damiris Dantas and hope that incremental improvements are enough. Because here's the reality. The WNBA is getting more competitive every year. Expansion is coming, which means more teams competing for the same pool of talent. The salary cap is rising, but so are player salaries as the league grows. The window to build around Caitlin Clark, while she's on a rookie deal, is maybe 2 more years before she's extension eligible and commanding supermax money. 2 years to get this right. And if the Fever waste those 2 years bringing back the same players who couldn't get past the first round, if they prioritize familiarity over talent, if they make safe moves instead of bold ones, they're going to look back in 5 years and wonder why they couldn't capitalize on having the most marketable and talented player in league history. The Damiris Dantas signing is fine as a depth move, but it better not be representative of the overall strategy, because Fever fans didn't wait through years of rebuilding and losing seasons just to watch the front office play it safe when they finally have a superstar worth building around. So the question for the Indiana Fever front office is simple. Are you building a team that can compete for championships, or are you building a team that's just good enough to make the playoffs and sell tickets? Because those are 2 very different strategies. And right now, the moves they're making suggest they're not sure which one they're committed to. What do you think? Is the Dantas signing a smart budget move that allows them to spend elsewhere, or is it a sign that the Fever aren't being aggressive enough this offseason? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want to see more WNBA offseason coverage as these moves continue to develop, make sure you're subscribed because we're tracking every transaction, every rumor, and every decision that shapes the 2025 season.